Hey, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today we're going to be working on the 2015 Kawasaki KLX110. It's a typical story here. Been sitting up a little bit too long, battery's dead. I smelled the fuel earlier, doesn't smell that good, and of course it doesn't want to start. So let's go through the process of getting it running again and start to do some of the service procedures. So let me go grab a couple of tools and we'll get it done. All right, guys, a really short list for this. All you need is just a Phillips and a flathead, screwdriver, an 8mm. This isn't absolutely necessary, but just makes life go faster, having an impact wrench, and then a decent voltometer. All right, well, we've got all of our plastics off now. Basically, that was just a bunch of 8mm bolts that had to be taken out, and just one Phillips up on the fuel tank. All right, the first thing I want to do is look at the battery, see what kind of shape it's in. It wouldn't even make the solenoid click, so I'm betting she's pretty much complete done, but let's see what kind of voltage we can get out of it. All right, yeah, this is pretty pathetic. That's actually 0.3 of a volt, so this thing is completely gone, sulfated, and there is no recovery for it at all. So let's go ahead and get that replaced, and then we'll go to the next step, which will be looking at the fuel. So let me go grab another battery. All right, here's the battery that it's going to need. It's a YTX4L-BS, and this one I've already got serviced up, so I filled it with electrolyte and then charged it, so it's ready to go in. Let's get that bracket out of the way, disconnect our terminals, and we'll get the new one put in there. Now I know that this machine is sitting for about 3 to 4 months, and you can keep this from happening if you put some stabilizer in it and put a battery tender on the battery. It will greatly increase its lifespan. These batteries aren't cheap, and a decent battery tender will easily pay for itself in a very short period of time. Get this little bracket back in place. There were 2 screws that came out of it. One's just a little bit longer than the other. The short one goes back in the back. Notice that I took all this apart with an impact wrench. I'm a big fan of that, but I'm not a fan of using that to put it back together, because you can actually get some that are really powerful and strip these threads out before you know it. All right, let's see if she'll spin over now. All right, she spins over. You can actually smell the exhaust or the fuel coming out, and it doesn't really smell very well. It doesn't smell very good at all. So what we're going to do is get a drain pan and let's flush it out through the carburetor, see what kind of shape it's in, and that'll determine if we need to pull the carburetor off and clean it or not. So let's get that drained out and take a look at the fuel. All right, what I want to do is drain the float bowl, and it's going to come out through that tube right there. We're going to drain it into that little Pyrex cup. All right, we can definitely tell that this fuel is pretty old. All right, see how that's kind of dark looking? It shouldn't be quite that dark, and oof, it almost smells like turpentine. I think that's the best way I can explain the smell of old fuel, and that's not a real good indicator. Plus there seemed to be some trash in the bottom of the bowl. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull the carb off, get that bowl off, and take a look at it. And we're at least, even if we don't have to rebuild or clean the carb completely, we're going to go ahead and drain the fuel out of this and put some fresh fuel in there. All right, for comparison's sake, I went and got some fresh fuel just to show you how much of a difference it makes. And that is good fuel that's ready to go. Look at the color difference in between the two. All right, guys, well, that's step one in getting this machine running again. Obviously we went ahead and replaced the battery. Like I said, you can save yourself a lot of pain if you at least put some stabilizer in the fuel and a battery tender on the battery. What we're going to do next is actually pull the carb off in another video. But if you need any of the products, such as the stabilizer or the battery tender, why don't you come find us at Partzilla.com, and we can get you taken care of. So what's going to happen next? Like I said, we're going to take the carburetor off. So why don't you follow me over to the next video, and I'll show you how to get that done.